Emeka, what was it like watching CJ go through the ceremony for the Heisman and just the support of you guys having for him?
I feel like it was frustrating for everyone in the building, especially seeing like how the votes turned out. And he came out third, and he was like 150 votes down or something like that. We all feel and know he's a better player than that, but at the end of the day, it's not about accomplishments. It's just about coming back, grinding, and getting ready for Georgia.
Emeka, what has Keenan Bailey meant to you guys, and how happy are you to see him get the opportunity to be tight ends coach?
Yeah, I'm super happy. Coach Bailey, he's one of the first coaches that helped recruit me. We had a really tight relationship ever since I was in high school, and we really developed a special relationship. I can really call him my friend, and it's been a long time coming. We've known he's ready for a position job. Since the first day I saw him work, he's one of the first coaches in here and the last coach to leave. He's always helping us on our craft, and he's one of the most dialed-in people you'll ever meet. So it's really well-deserved, and I'm super happy for him.
What was it about him when you met him as a recruit that resonated with you?
He was kind of down-to-earth, really genuine person. He's going to hold you to a high standard, probably higher than you hold yourself to. So that's something I've always been fond of because I'm trying to take my game to levels that I haven't reached yet. So he's surely helped me accomplish that.
And you mentioned like how he helps you with your craft. Is there anything specific he's done to help you become a better receiver?
Yeah, I remember just like one example. There's tons of examples, but the one that comes to mind is he actually ordered like our receiver room, one of those like distraction like training things that has like 3 colors on it. You're supposed to throw it up and catch like a certain color, whatever color he calls out. So he bought us all that, but that's just like the little stuff he does to help us with our craft.
CJ was just talking about how the criticism that maybe Jackson has gotten and how frustrating that is for him. Like for you, like how hard have you seen Jackson work behind the scenes, and how does it make you feel maybe when people don't realize that?
Yeah, Jackson has a phenomenal work ethic, and he'd be the first person to tell you that if he was healthy, he'd be on the field. And I surely know that he's one of the hardest competitors I've ever trained with. And he didn't have to come back for Iowa or Toledo, I think it was, whatever he came back for. Like he didn't have to, but he just wanted to be on the field so bad. He wanted to play with his brothers. So I feel like that proves in itself that he would be on the field if he could. But he's looking out for his future and the things he has to do. But he's going to be really healthy in the months coming. And wherever he gets taken in the draft, he's going to have a phenomenal career.
When you know what you know, because you have an inside seat, obviously, and then you see things thrown around on social media, saying this and that about Jackson, and it's contrary to at least what it sounds like you're saying right now. How does that make you feel when one of your brothers are going through that? CJ actually, he sounded off about it, I think, as well as CJ would. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it definitely makes me angry. I kind of have to hold my tongue in what I say in these interviews. But you got to take everything on social media with a grain of salt. Surely there's like tons of negative stuff that comes from Twitter and Instagram and all these platforms, but even the positive stuff is just as dangerous because you get a big head, you get a big ego. So just take everything on social media with a grain of salt, kind of move forward about your day. I have timers on my phone to remind me to get off social media. If they go off too many minutes per day, then I'll turn it off. So just trying to stay locked in and focus on what we have to do. It doesn't really matter what anyone else outside this building thinks about the players and what we have going on.
When Jax announces he's out, Trey, announces he's not going, what kind of motivation is that giving you guys? Maybe approach things in a loose and aggressive way, much like Ryan said he wants you guys to play.
Yeah, we always feel like we got to hold it down for the guys who can't play because we know how much they want to play. Whether it was last year with guys like Crowley, he messed up his knee really bad, so we all feel for him. Evan Pryor, like all these guys, Cam Babb. So we kind of play for them, play for our brothers because once you come to Ohio State, the brotherhood is really established. Like at first you come here for football, you come here to get better, move on to the league and whatnot. But once you get here, you stay for the brotherhood. And I can truly say this is one of the closest environments I've ever been around.
You guys have mentioned how much of a leader Jackson's been off the field. Now that we know he's not playing, what has his role been like, in preparation for the Peach Bowl?
Yeah, Jackson's really stepped into his leadership role, especially last year going into this year. He's really been a voice that people can look up to. And coming into the Peach Bowl, I feel like it's definitely been hard on him, but he's always been someone you could talk to. Even if it's not, standing up in front of the team, he's just a phone call away, and he's there to help you with whatever you got going on.
Not to focus too much on Jackson here, talking about you, but you just talked about his leadership role. I'm sure he'll play a part in this team going into that build-up, but there's going to be some spots that need filled in terms of that leadership on the field during the plays. How do you see your role evolve to fill that?
I feel like being a leader is something that I've always wanted to be, and it's something that I value really highly. So kind of just focusing on building that trait within myself, and kind of giving my teammates someone to look up to, and just be a solid foundation in like a hard spot that we're going to be in, because adversity is going to strike in this game. Every play is going to be a fight, so just having a steady, constant battle, and knowing that we can withstand anything.
Do you remember where you were when you watched Pac-12 game?
The Pac-12? I think I was at home in my basement in Lloyd's room. Yeah.
What was that like watching that game? I imagine everybody here says it was pretty tense.
Right. Yeah, it definitely was. But once they got up big, I kind of knew it was over. So my dad actually called me once they went up 2 or 3 scores or something like that. My dad called me. He was just screaming. He didn't even say anything. He was just so happy. And that's kind of how everyone felt. So it was really relieving. But yeah.
When you have to practice that week, you don't know you have anything to play for. But New Year's Six Bowl is great and all, but you guys have national championship. How do you motivate yourself to play that week when you know the goals you wanted or the goals you want to play for may not be there?
Right. That was a mindset that Coach Day had kept instilling in us, that we got to train for these moments, even though we might not get the opportunity. We got to stay in it like we're going to be in it. So that week we had 2 or 3 great practices. We were really getting after it because there was a spark of hope. And then, once we got the confirmation that we were number 4, we really got after it, and we've been having great practices thus far, and we're going to continue to do that up until the game.
You mentioned that's Coach Day's message. He said you guys had a team meeting on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Is that when he kind of had
Yep.
that message with you guys?
Yeah, that's when he informed us that we were going to be having practice, usually the next day or something like that. And guys really took that to heart. They followed his leadership. Coach Day has been really solid all season. He's never really wavered. So he's definitely a great head coach to be behind.
Emeka, what's it like to be one of a small handful of Ohio State receivers with 1,000 yards receiving in a season?
It's definitely a blessing. I always have high expectations for myself. But at the end of the day, I just believe it's all Jesus. When I got here, Cam Babb and Xavier Johnson, they helped me reestablish my faith. I can honestly say that however way the season would have turned out, I would have been grateful just for the opportunity to step on the field and be in this position that I'm in. So at the end of the day, it's not about your accomplishments, like I said earlier, but it's definitely a really special feeling, and I'm just so grateful for everyone in this program who's helped me achieve that.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but it's a small number, and then it's even smaller numbers who did it as sophomores.
Right.
Did you expect it this soon?
Yeah, like I said, I have high expectations for myself. I came in expecting to, make big plays as a freshman even. And I felt like I did a decent job with the, amount of opportunities I had last year. And just kind of transferred that over into this year, taking advantage of my opportunities. A couple guys went down. And I just tried to step up in the best way that I could.
We talked earlier in the season, the difficulty of moving inside and outside from week to week because of the injuries. How do you feel you did over the course of the season with that?
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't too bad. The coaches did a phenomenal job of preparing me, giving me every look possible in preparation for every week. Coach Hart being able to, know the ins and outs of football and wide receiver specifically really helped me develop my mindset on both the slot and the outside.
You talked about Coach Key earlier. What should Buckeye fans know about him?
He's really the hardest working dude I know, in the building. Like I said, you'll FaceTime him at midnight. He's still here. He's still watching film, getting us ready. But he's also super genuine. He's one of the guys I can honestly say that I can come to him with anything in the building. I feel very safe and confident in being able to disclose any information that I have to him. So he's been a real blessing in my life, and I feel like a lot of other players would say the same.
Emeka, physically, how different is playing outside versus playing in the slot? Like physicality.
Right. Yeah, physically, I say in the slot, you're definitely blocking more backers and, safeties that are 225 as opposed to, blocking corners and running guys off. But, it's a different skill set, but, I don't feel like someone who plays outside only can't play the slot, or someone who plays slot can't play the outside. So it's definitely a skill that you have to develop, but it's something that is doable.
How hard is it to do that? Like, 1 week you're blocking backers, next week you're outside. Like, how hard is it to go back and forth on the spot?
Same technique, really. So just transferring it over, and when you're inside the box, you got to bring a little more oomph. But I like playing both.
Early in the year, Ryan mentioned how much your physicality helps this offense. Like, remember you were playing goal line a little bit. You
Right.
You block well. You can run off press well. Have you always been that physical type of receiver?
I've always been bigger than most of the competition I played, especially coming from a 2A high school in Washington. And I got to college, and DBs are bigger, but I feel like I got a little more weight on them. So I've always been one who's try to enforce my dominance every play, and kind of just get after dudes to let them know that this isn't going to be an easy game for you. So try to stick with that mindset, and there's going to be times that you get rocked yourself, but it's just about being tough and sucking it up and doing the hard things even when you don't want to.
Is it important to establish that, like you mentioned, making sure a defensive back knows like it's not going to be an easy game for you? Is it important to establish that early in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. I try to do it on the first play if I can.
What's the key to doing it on the first play?
If it's a block, go at them a little bit. If it's a pass, make sure you catch it, honestly. So that's really that's all that goes into it.